how's it going? My name's Nico, I go by COINTrick and COINTricktwitch online. If you want to see more videos like this one, please remember to like and subscribe. Hit that bell so you get notified every time I upload another one of these videos. Really quickly. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. My name's Nico, I go by COINTrick online, and today I've got Jean-Luc here with me. Jean-Luc goes by a bunch of different nom de guerre, depending on where you're looking for him. Jean-Luc, you also... Hold on, I'll just turn this to you. That's my brother, everybody.
Hello.
He's the good-looking one.
No.
It's been 20 minutes. We've maintained not exactly 155 because that's really difficult with the equipment that we have, but we've managed to keep it between that like 148 to 158 temperature range that we wanted pretty much the entire time. So that's all of the fermentable sugars that we have. The next step is that we're supposed to pull the grain bag out, and the instructions are incredibly specific about this. Do not squeeze the grain bag because apparently there are tannins in there, which will make this bitter. They'll make it taste off. But here's what I want to do.
Oh.
We are going to pull the grain bag out, and then I'm going to squeeze it in here, because here's my thought. If there are tannins in there, they should be able to mellow and oxidize the same way that tannins do in wine. And if we can do that, we may be able to use that as sort of like a souring agent for a separate beer or a separate project. I just want to see if it can happen, so I'm going to siphon some of that off while we're doing all of this. I have this nifty little grate, sanitized. There we go. And I'm not pushing down on this, I'm not squeezing it. I'm just trying to spread this out so that everything can kind of like fall evenly in there. And we're just going to leave it at like that for a minute. After this, it's supposed to come up to a rolling boil, so I'm going to hit boil down here. And there's not a temperature specification for this, it just says that it needs to boil. That's it. And once it's boiling, that's when we can start adding hops. So there's different kinds of hops that do different kinds of things. There are typically about 3 stages in which you can hop a beer. There's your first boil, there's your second boil, or while you're terminating your first boil, and then you can bitter your beer while it's racking, basically when you transfer it from primary to secondary fermentation. Some hops do better, or bittering agents do better under heat or pressure. Some do better at like room temperature. So we've got 2 kinds here. We've got one for bittering and one for aroma, which also affects flavor. So our bittering hops, it says they're called Golding's hops. Add to boiling wort at starting time for about a 60-minute boil. I believe the boil time for this recipe is only 60 minutes. So once we see that first boil, that first bubble come up, that's when these are going in. They're just going in just like that. I believe you have to strain them out later, but we're just pouring those directly in there. And then the second one we have, these are our aroma hops, and they're called
Buggle.
That's right, ladies and gents, ladies and gentle-them. It's these are actually, no joke, our aroma hops are called Fuggle hops.
Fuggle hops.
Fuggle hops. For this one it says, add to boiling wort at 2 minutes left in the boil. So almost just before this one should be done. Be right back. Okay. Again, I'm not squeezing it. I'm just trying to make sure that we get as much of that light sugar liquid that we want, as much of it as possible. And then I try and get these 2 close to one another. Transfer this over here. Make it look like I've done this before. There we go. And then this is going to continue to just drain and strain so that we get that tannic extract to hopefully make. If we make another batch of beer, when we make another batch of beer, I'm going to try and use this to sort of like add some souring agents and stuff to it. So we're just going to leave that here. I may need to boil it to sanitize it later on, but We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Let's take that temperature, because in order for this to boil, it should be over 212 technically, because there's a lot of extra compounds in here. But we want something around 210. So this says once we see the first boil, the first bubble of the boil, we're supposed to remove this from the heat. Take out your malt extract, which is this. This is light Pilsen malt extract. This is dehydrated extract. You also have liquid malt extract too. And then I think it just wants us to incorporate this in. Slowly stir it into the pot, making sure it does not clump or stick to the bottom. Once all of the malt extract is completely dissolved, return the pot to the burner and turn the heat up to medium-high. Alright, are you ready, John Lake?
Yes.
Come on, it's not supposed to clump.
Oh, is this satisfactory?
I don't know how we're going to get this whole thing to dissolve. I feel like we're going to have to use the food processor.
Yeah.
Or not the food processor, the immersion blender, just because of how quickly this clumps and how little liquid we actually have to work with. This is also going to help to aerate the solution. The immersion blender will forever remain one of my secret weapons when it comes to homebrewing. This thing is amazing. And actually less messy than when we were using the whisk. Once all of the malt extract is completely dissolved, return the pot to the burner and turn the heat up to medium-high. I don't know what temperature constitutes medium-high, but I imagine it's still within that same temperature range that we talked about before, from 148 to 158. At this point, you should be monitoring your brew pot at all times, because the wort can easily boil over, and this can be a very messy mistake if you have to start the boil over. This can be a very messy mistake if you have to start the boil over. Turn off the heat and blow on the foam. This will decrease the foam. Bring the wort up to a slow rolling boil. Once this is achieved, stir in your bittering hops and start timing for a 60-minute boil. So this is when we're trying to get it to boil again. Okay, so how do we want to do this? All right, I got an idea. We're going to turn this on. I'm going to try and get it to kick up to a boil quickly. And then I'm going to use this guy to incorporate these two together.
It's working. That, I think, turned out way better than expected.
Yes,
And that
this is like the best possible piece of equipment we could have found.
Yeah.
Because it also has this top.
And it's not just a lid either. It's also a pot. It's just, of course, this was my dad's.
I was trying to see if it had like a specific. It just says medium-high heat. So I feel like there's 6 settings. So there are 2 that are low, 2 that are medium, and 2 that are high. So there's low, medium low, medium, medium high, high medium, and high high. And I think low fry. I'm hoping low fry is what they mean by medium high. And in my mind, when I think of like a fryer, I do think of that like rolling boil. So that's our rolling boil at 214 degrees. So now we need to add the bittering hops and set a timer for 1 hour. I'm back behind the bar.
Are you? What are you doing behind the bar, fun guy?
We're just supposed to dump those in there. There we go. Bittering hops. There's 3 different kinds of hops, right? Or 3 different kinds of hop stages. There's bittering, flavor, and aroma.
Who's Andy? Wait.
I am bartender. Oh, hold on. Take it off the heat.
Oh, shit.
There we go.
No.
That's some beer
Nick.
magic for you. This, by the way, that pot is like... Hold on, so I don't get banned on TikTok. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about.
It's very,
That actual pot is like probably the best piece of equipment that we've had this entire time. We were trying to work with something else earlier that was small and inconsistent and really annoying, and then John Luke told me to pull my pants up, so we
Right.
put it away.
yeah. And then I got the lid. Speaking of,
Now
even
I'm
the
actually
lid,
trying to read this.
even the lid for this pot
is a pot!
is a pot, and a more suitable pot than any of the other pots we have used tonight, other than the pot itself for that lid.
After the 60-minute boil, shut off your stove and take the brew pot off of the burner. Next, create an ice bath to sink. Create an ice bath in your sink using a few pounds, kilograms, not any specific amount of them, just some, of ice and cool water. Then place your brew pot in the ice bath. Somebody actually gave me a cheat code for this that did work the last time that we made beer.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, if you add salt to the ice water, it alters the specific heat. I am not a physicist, so I don't know if it makes the specific heat higher or lower, but basically it allows the water to absorb heat much faster.
Because of the electrical
Because of the
content.
ions. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's genius.
Place your brew pot in the ice bath to cool it down to below 75 degrees Fahrenheit, and then place the lid on the pot while cooling to prevent contamination. The quicker you cool it down, the lower the risk of contamination, so use a lot of ice if possible. We're gonna have to fill one of those with ice. That's the only thing we have big enough to put that in. Okay. I think, unless do you think it'll fit in the aluminum container?
Yes.
Well, this guy, you think he's gonna fit in there?
Yeah.
The hard drive is still going strong, so here we are. Guju, what's up, man? Long time no see. Welcome back. What are you guys cooking? There, I was gonna say something that would probably get me banned on TikTok, but we're actually making beer. We gotta cook, Jesse. Is that what he says, or does he say, Jesse, we gotta cook? We need to cook? I don't remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then once it's cooled down, you pitch the yeast, and then strain that into the carboy. The carboy, by the way, you guys can't see this on TikTok, so I'll show you. The carboy is this guy. If you've followed me on Twitch, you've seen this before. It's just a jug. That's a 1 gallon glass carboy. Funnel the wort into the carboy, leaving any thick sludge in the pot. If you have a fine mesh strainer, pour the wort through this in order to separate the spent hops from the wort. Oh boy, not only do I have a fine mesh strainer, I have something called a super bag. And I also have multiple funnels because, as we said earlier in the live stream, you can never have too many of these. It's like scissors. You
Or
can never
clamps.
have too many scissors.
Can never have too
unless
many
you have
clamps.
infant children. Or clamps. Or glue. Or tape.
If you are a
Duct tape.
craftsman of any kind, chances are you use clamps. You use a fuck ton of clamps and probably run out of them a lot because there are never enough clamps. It's like those other things you said. Do you think the Fernet bottles are a little big? They feel kind of big. Where?
No, I feel like they're behind me. You haven't noticed the 11 now Fernet bottles that are back here? They're all empty, by the way.
I'm so used to them by now.
They're not dummy bottles either.
Well, now I
They
can't.
were real bottles full
Now
of Fernet at one point in time.
Yeah. Well, they had Fernet in them.
And then I had Fernet in me, and that's the end of that story.
Yeah.
cut open your included packet of yeast and add that. So you pitch the yeast into the carboy? I guess that makes sense. Okay, cool. So, instead of a fine mesh filter, I have what is called a super bag, which I put here. So a super bag is basically a filter, but it's really rigid, so you can squeeze stuff in it. I like using these to make cold brew coffee because when I'm done making it, I can kind of like work out any extra coffee I want to get out of it.
That'd be fun.
But in this instance, what we're going to do with it is I'm going to turn most of it inside out, and we're going to use it here like this. And these, you could probably tell, these are really fine pores. They're going to catch most of the sediment that's going to come out, which hopefully means less sludge in here, less astringent flavors. So, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to squeeze what's in there into that guy.
Got it. Do some tricks for my birthday. I'm 21.
What do you mean, do what do you mean, do tricks?
They're 21.
What's your favorite drink? Manhattan daiquiris, cold brew coffee, and lattes, depending on time of the day and what kind of mood I'm in. Okay, sweet. Now, John Luke, I need you to set a 2-minute timer.
Okay.
This is going straight in there.
Okay.
Just so we're clear, we set a 2-minute timer, right?
There it is.
That was 2 minutes?
Yep.
It's supposed to come off the heat. I need to put it on the wooden cutting board. Alright, there we go. Shh, hush now. No tears, only dreams now. What are you making? We're making a golden ale. We're making a kind of beer. It's kind of hard to see now. This was part of it, but this is going to be a souring shrub that we use later for a different project. The actual beer itself is in this guy currently. There's about a gallon of wort, which is the stage that it's in now. When it's done with this, we have to bring it down below 75 degrees Fahrenheit. I believe the ideal temperature is between 68 and 72. It is like very old apocryphal knowledge for me. But it's pretty much closer to like 70, between 70 and 75 is probably going to be safer. And once we've cooled it down, we're going to pour it in this guy. Through here to separate any extra solids and sediment that might have collected at the bottom of this thing. And then it'll be ready for fermentation. We activate the yeast, we pitch the yeast over this, we put an airlock, and then we forget about it for 2 weeks. Go ahead. There we go. John licks the muscle, by the way. All right.
Nah, that's too much. We have a sink.
Grab the funnel, or the siphon behind me. Yeah, just siphon the water out. We're being very siphon it into the second pot. Oh. We're being very scientific here, and not at all slapstick. We know what we're doing. We're untrained professionals. Okay, there we go. Wow!
What a difference.
That's dramatic.
Look at that.
Okay,
Wow.
cool.
You need that overhead cam.
Yeah, there's like... What is that? Oh, that's the hops and stuff. Now we're going to do a booty, which is a very small shoey. So, cheers guys, raise them if you got them. You don't have to have a glass, and if you do have a glass, you do not have to have liquor in it or any kind of alcohol. But thank you all for tuning in, sticking around, making this all possible. Here's to you. Cheers. Cheers. Bars and politics are hilarious. Yeah, oh man, how have I never made a TikTok about this? You guys are about to get a special treat. I once had a man come into the bar when I had first started bartending, asking me all these questions about different kinds of liquors, different cocktails, my experience in the industry. And he was like, oh, what did you, he was one of those guys, right? You can tell by the voice. That's not I'm not making a caricature of him. He sounded like that. What do you, wait, before you were a bartender, what did you do? Oh, I was a barista before I was a bartender. Oh, no way. Did you You go to college? Did you drop out? Nope, I did go to college, but I have a bachelor's degree in film studies. Oh, no way! No way, what do you know about film? And I started talking about like Untitled Chapter, a bunch of experimental films, Kenneth Anger, like stuff that you would learn about in film school. In terms of history stuff, not like the mechanics and plastics of what I do here, not production stuff. And so he was like, oh, well, you know, look where that got you. And I'm like, oh, cool, great. He's probably very happy now, I hope. Or happier than he was when he came into my bar, God willing. But yeah, I mean, I'd say it's worked out for me relatively well. Here I am, doing it full time.
Where do we want this? There?
Something like that, yeah. Or, on the other side, facing this way so we can see what temperature it is.
Oh.
You're gonna get it to pinch in there?
Yeah.
Is it gonna fit? Is it gonna pull?
Yeah.
No. Where's the magnet there? I don't think there's... Whoop! Whoop!
And it'll be way easier to separate both of them as long as you're very careful.
Jeez, talk about a 200 IQ play. Damn it, John-Luc, where was that big-ass brain, like, 30 minutes ago?
I've been up since, like, 3 a.m.
We are at 69 degrees, so we actually need to pull this out of the ice. I'm using the royal we.
Oh, okay.
I want John-Luc to pull it out of the ice.
Okay. This? Where is it going?
I'm just gonna move this out of the way. And then you can set it down. Oh, yeah, it's so light!
The royal
Oh,
we.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Like a paperweight. So the next thing that we have to do, I think, is transfer it, if I recall correctly. Verify that the wort is below 75 degrees with a sanitized thermometer. This is not the scientific part of what we're going to do. When we do actually do the science stuff, that's going to be sanitized with Star San. Take out your sanitized carboy and funnel and transfer the wort. That stuff is sanitized. Into the carboy, leaving any thick sludge in the pot. If you have a fine mesh strainer, pour it into the... Okay. Cool. So, here we go. Okay.
Yeah, look at the camera.
It smells like a Hot Pocket.
There you go. Careful.
The super bag might be too porous. Pores might be too fine for this. Just try and agitate it through that membrane.